How's it going, YouTube? Today I'll be making a video showing you how to do a ear speaker replacement, specifically the soldering portion on a iPhone 12. I recently bought two iPhone 12s, and I'm with the sole intention of I'm gonna flip them. I already have a buyer lined up, so I'll go later on in the video. I'll go through how much I bought them for, how much the parts cost me, my profit margin. And if that interests you, I do this frequently. This is a part of my business. I can make more videos like it. So if that interests you, leave a comment down below, and I'll do that. So in the realm of the ear speaker, at least on the iPhone 12, there's two ways to do it. The first is just to replace the entire flex. The ear speaker is attached to the flex assembly, which controls the front mic, proximity sensor, and ambient light sensor. But the downside to this is that when you replace it, your Face ID functionality just goes out the window. So if you don't want to lose your Face ID functionality, well, this will be the video for you. The sort of tricky portion is that it does require a soldering iron. But obviously a soldering iron is a little bit more intricate, but if you have a soldering iron, or if you can get a hold of one, whatever, follow along. If you don't care about Face ID, still follow along, and I'll show you how to do that. So I have my victims, I have my donor phone. The screen on this is bad. Obviously the back on this is cracked. So I'm going to pull the housing off of this, the screen off of this. And like I said, I need to determine that the ear speaker isn't anything worse. So at least what I'm going to try there is swapping the actual flex first, verifying that the, at least the motherboard wasn't damaged in some way that caused the ear speaker to stop working, just before I jump through all the hoops of desoldering this, which is what I would suggest for you first. Because sometimes the issue, and I'll also try this, but sometimes the issue is just that the ear speaker mesh is just so clogged with debris. So sort of the order of operations for me is trying to clean it first, verifying that that's not dirty, then swapping the flex. As long as it still has functionality, as long as the ear speaker functionality is retained, well, then that means that the device itself has the ability to, there's just something wrong with the ear speaker itself. So then I'm going to desolder it, solder it onto the original flex so we can retain Face ID functionality. And, well, then, obviously my other repair. And then we got a working phone that I can make a few bucks on. So that's the plan. First things first, you always want to make sure that the ear speaker is clean. There's this stuff, I might have a video up of it. If I can find it, I'll show you, but it's pretty simple. But there's this stuff called blue tack, and literally you just dab it in the ear speaker. You can do this while the phone, before you even take apart the phone, so it's sort of the least invasive, especially considering how difficult these screens are to get off. If that doesn't fix the issue, then you can move on to the next, which is actually replacing the speaker itself. But once again, you want to make sure that your speaker is your ear speaker mesh is clean. And the easiest way to do that is just to hold it up to light. So I have, artificial light. I have my flashlight here. And sometimes these are literally so dirty that you can't even see any light through here. But that's not the case with this one. So we know that it's not dirty mesh, which is our problem. So I've already jumped ahead and I've already tested it out. Activate Siri, and then you ask it a question, and then it will play in the ear speaker. So, the good news is this is a new flex. It's not the original one. The original one I labeled with this white sticker right here. But yeah, I swapped out the entire ear speaker flex. This speaker works. So now I know that when so I'm going to go and desolder this particular speaker from this flex, and then, swap good parts with bad, and then we should be good to go. Like I said, if you could care less about Face ID and you don't have a soldering iron and you don't want to jump through all those hoops, essentially you can just skip the next couple of steps and just literally just swap out this flex, and it's as simple as that. I'm going to make a mark just so I don't mix these up, as essentially they look identical. So I have some double-sided tape. I'm using Tessa, but literally any double-sided tape works, just so it doesn't move. So I am not the greatest solderer. I mean, I will go as far as to say I am probably quite awful, but somehow I am good enough to do this particular job. So I'm pretty sure this isn't even the right flux for it. I don't know, but I've done this before and this is the way, and it's worked. So my flux, and I'm going to wick off the existing solder, and then I'm going to end up putting on new solder. And then lift up. There's going to be a bit of adhesive. I think, yeah, and it extends like right here. But the hard part is done, so it's desoldered. What else? Where the heck is my spudger? Okay, so here's our here's our old flex. It does help to remember that there is an orientation. So if you need to, like, I don't know, take a mental note or a photo or whatever, which I guess you don't because I'm making a video about this, you can just rewind. But we can now take this, set it aside. Now, obviously, bear in mind, this is the one. If I was going to do one first, I would desolder this one first, because on the off chance that you mess this up, you'll have a better idea of what you're working with. Because, I mean, this one, once again, Face ID functionality, one and done. If you mess this up, Face ID is done. Obviously, you're watching this video because you want to know how to do this properly. So, yeah, try this one first, because if you mess up here, well, then you can order another speaker, and if you mess up on that one, not the end of the world. Speakers aren't that expensive. Gonna mark my speaker.
Bye.
Good luck. All right, here we go. Grab my soldering iron. There we go. That one's done. Just want to warm up some of this adhesive. So now this is our flex. That's our old speaker. We can set that aside. Now, I use leaded solder just because it's easier to work with. So the first time I did it, the solder grabbed onto the flex, but it didn't grab onto the speaker. But yeah, be gentle, sort of lift up. This doesn't appear to be budging. So I'm going to call that a success, at least for the time being. And then I'm going to install this into my screen and give it a whirl. Cross your fingers. What's the weather?
It's currently cloudy at 54 degrees.
So it's kind of difficult for me to grab that on video, but like I can feel the speaker vibrating. But and most importantly, can we still set up Face ID? Yay, Face ID works. So I'm going to proceed on to my next one, but you don't need to be here for that, so yeah. So, new day, new shirt. I mentioned I was going to do a breakdown of the resell process, of the flipping process at the end of the video. So if you've stuck around this far, thank you so much. If you want to see more videos like this, please make sure to click the like button and comment below what you'd like to see, and I'd be more than happy to go into that. I bought each of the phones for $250. I tracked down a parts phone because I needed a screen and a back to fix the screen and the back. I ended up obviously needing the ear speakers, but I have a handful of those lying around from other parts phones, so I'm just gonna not really add that because it's such a small number. So I was into each phone for $300. They were locked to T-Mobile, and I wasn't too sure about the IMEI, so I'd rather not sell that to somebody knowing that it might come back on me. So I resold them to a guy immediately, made it quick, 100 on one, 120 on the other. Was that good? Was that bad? I'll leave it up to you. Leave a comment down below. Thank you so much for sticking around this far, and I'll see you next time.